now yield the floor to Monica from Movetia to tell us a little bit more about our partners in Switzerland. And then, of course, we're very eager to hear from our guest speakers. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Jonas. Yeah, so I'm here from Movetia, and we're the Swiss National Agency for Exchange and Mobility. You might know us already. Movetia is supporting mobility and cooperation projects for all education sectors. So that means also school education, teacher education, higher education, but also vocational education and training, and youth. And we're supporting national projects, but also importantly, international projects and European and out of Europe. So, and that's the reason why we are very happy for this collaboration between with Swissnex, and we see this as a great chance because we're having a new agreement, and with this we really want, or we try to give you as future or potential project leader, give you the opportunity, the possibility to get support from Swissnex. They know the countries, they know the regions, they know the systems. So if you're planning a project, if you're working on something, but you have you need information about the education system, or you need to find partners, you need any kind of support. With this agreement, you have the possibility to get in touch with Swissnex, to talk about the project, to get some support, and Movetia is supporting this as well. So that's the reason or the idea behind this. And it's maybe also important to know, so you really can contact Swissnex for all the location-based or location-related questions, and for questions about projects, about the funding, about the possibilities on this side. Movetia is always there for you as well. We have also two colleagues from Movetia here in this round. It's Chantal from the higher education sector and Laura from the VET sector. And on our common web page between Swissnex and Movetia, you have also all the contacts from the different sectors for questions and anything else. And thank you for organizing this.
Thank you, Monica. Yes, to give also a quick context from my side, when we were thinking about what would be something about India that maybe in Switzerland, or what is something new that we can offer for Switzerland, we thought about the sector of education, understanding that Movetia's mission is to sort of bring an international experience to young people already in the schooling system. And if I imagine that a teacher or a becoming teacher would have spent 2 weeks, for example, at one of those schools in India, which are very diverse in the way they teach and the way they approach, for example, climate change or biodiversity, or just working in like setups where you have tinkering labs, innovation, like very immersive ideas, like have a treehouse as a classroom, for example, that could really shape or inspire on how you are going to approach some of the teaching or your subjects in school. And the other half is about the VET sector, which is, of course, as you know, a very highly respected and high quality way to train and skill young people in Switzerland. But we recognize that one thing they often don't have the opportunity is to actually immerse themselves in a different culture. But in today's world, even in a non-academic job, it's very important to be able to be a bit culturally agile, versatile, and have exposed yourself to being in a different environment. And so with this, we at Swissnex in India offer for young apprentices or graduates from the VET system to spend 3 to 6 months in an Indian company in Bangalore, also at Swissnex, to really like be exposed to this different culture. Today we have with us Jitendra from the Azim Premji Foundation, who works with schools and education policy and teacher education at scale. We have Vena Kapoor, who has like a really cool immersive approach to like bringing your immediate nature back to children's knowledge and awareness. And we have Jaggi and Damit, who are both in a position that like one has hosted a Swiss apprentice and one is a Swiss former apprentice who has spent time here in Bangalore. Without further ado, Jitendra, can I ask you to start?
Namaste and good afternoon to everyone. I have a small presentation which I wish to use here. See, I work with this organization called Azim Premji Foundation. We have been there for almost now 25 years, and I am part of this organization since 2011. So before I get into the two important things that we are doing in education, I just wanted to take a minute to basically, talk about a bit about the entire organization and the scale of work that we do in India. Can you move to the next slide? Yeah, actually, go to the third slide. I think I have too many slides and actually less time, so I'll be spending a little more time on some of these slides. So if you look at this India map, we work across India. The yellow part that you see is where we have institutional presence, which means we have our teams there, our offices, and these offices are in district headquarters as well as in smaller administrative units called blocks. And each block is about 100 to 150 villages big. So, but if you look at the blue color, so this is where we work through partners. So we have about 1,000 odd partners across India, and we basically give them grants to work on various, health, livelihood, legal support, various kinds of developmental projects which they do with mainly marginalized and underprivileged people across India. So that's like the span of our work. We work across India. My role is mainly with education work, which is our like main work over the last 20-25 years. Since COVID, we started working in health. So we are doing a lot of work in health now, and very soon we will have a very large presence in the health sector. Uh, what's important about us is that we don't we run 9 schools only. We run 9 schools of our own, and that is mainly to demonstrate good schooling. Our main work is mainly to strengthen, to enable the public education system to perform better, to basically help teachers teach better and students learn better. That is what we are largely focusing on. So, and that is so special because it is very huge public education system in India. So, Lena ji, can you move to the next slide? Yeah, and next one actually. Yeah. So if you look at the size of Indian education, school education system, it is almost 250 million students are there in the school system. 1.5 million schools are there, and you have almost 10 million teachers. So this is almost like the population of Switzerland. So we have enough, or maybe more teachers in India than the population of Switzerland. So, so that is the scale of work. Through our policy level work, we are basically trying to influence the entire education system in India, like whatever support we provide to the government. Yeah, and I'll talk about it in a while. But our direct work, when we are basically working alongside teachers in their schools, that work is reaching to almost 300,000 teachers. That is the scale of work, 300,000 teachers across 7 states. And there is 100,000, Anganwadi, we call them. Anganwadi means basically early childhood education care centers. So that is another group of teachers we directly work with. So that is the scale of work. So when we talk about ourselves, we say, we work on the ground, trying to bring change in the classroom, and we also work at the policy level, trying to basically influence or the policy in the positive way, so that the policy environment is basically enabling those who are working in the schools. So that's how we see it. Next slide, please. Um, Yeah, so this slide basically talks about the crisis that is there in terms of learning. Even a class 5 student is finding it difficult to read a class 2 level text. This is from the latest report, and the COVID actually made it really difficult. We were doing maybe fair, or we were trying to improve as a nation earlier, but the COVID actually had a pretty, devastating effect on student learning, and we are now again catching up. So that's just to show, okay, if these in government schools, at least 150 million students are attending government schools. So these are the most underprivileged children, in India. And if you can help improve the teaching learning that happens in these public schools, you're really reaching out to a large section of Indian population, and you're basically helping them to have, or to at least imagine and strive for better employment, better opportunities in life. That is what you will end up doing if you improve the public schooling. Next slide. Yeah. So see, as I just shared that, our focus is to have significant effect at significant scale. How we do it by working closely with teachers, and I'll come to that in a while. But see, apart from being in a block, working alongside teachers through our centers, which we call teacher learning centers, TLCs, we have roughly around 300 such centers across India. Other than that, we run our own schools basically to learn for ourselves and to demonstrate what a good school should function like. And then we have noticed that we have a dearth of good professionals, good teachers. So we run a couple of universities in India, and through those universities we are basically a new generation to emerge from these courses, who can be available for education work across India. So every year many students do teacher education through our university. They do masters in education through our university, and then they are back into work life. Either some of them join us, some of them join many other organizations. So we are basically trying to have a rich pool of professionals who are working in the field of education in India. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is where I'll spend a minute. This is where I think we have really done good work. See, whatever you do at policy level, ultimately, what matters is what is happening in the classroom. So unless you have a sense of what is happening in the classroom, and you have a way of basically talking to the teachers and somehow encouraging the teachers, or hand holding the teachers, or scaffolding the teachers, so that they can do better practices. So unless you work at that level, it's very difficult to really bring about the change. There are many technological innovations, there are packages available from many organizations, but ultimately you don't just have to tell them what needs to be done, but you have to really be there and see what kind of challenges they face, and you have to provide appropriate measures or ways of basically countering those challenges and finding ways of basically helping the students learn. So that's what we are doing. We are focusing on teaching practices. We are focusing on teaching practices through this demonstration method, demonstration of how good teaching learning process actually happens in a classroom. We do it, and we do it through teachers. Many teachers are anyway good teachers. So those who are good teachers, they do it. And we constantly, every year, we have a way to basically measure the effect of our work. And we have recently done that exercise because it happens in February every year. So we have the results now, and the last fourth point in this slide basically talks about it. So all those teachers with whom we are working like more intensely, with whom we are providing some scaffolding support, their students are almost 20 months ahead of any other, or teachers with whom we are not working. That is the amount of effect we have noticed, and that is very encouraging for us. We just want to reach out to more and more teachers so that this effect uh, you know is seen at a much larger scale. So that's what we are saying. Whatever is there in educational theory about educational change happening in a classroom, and you have studies like Japanese lessons, that's one famous study about how Japanese do it. We have similar processes happening with teachers on the ground, and therefore I have basically highlighted these phrases as red, in red color. Like these are the core efforts happening from our side for bringing about change at the classroom level. Yeah. So last, just please give me a minute or two, if that is possible, and then I'll just close. The second important part is how we are basically helping the ecosystem. Uh, can you please show me the next slide? Yeah. See, you see these three big documents here. These are the recently produced policy documents in India: National Education Policy 2020, and then there are two curriculum framework documents. Our contribution with government in these documents is mainly the 3 points written at the bottom. We have helped, or we have advocated for making these documents good enough for practitioners, so that a practitioner can read and understand these documents for his or her practice. Two, there has to be clear articulation of learning standards. It wasn't there earlier. Now, if you read these documents, you'll find what needs to be learned in grade 1 or grade 2, grade 3, or in language, maths, geography. It's very well articulated. So that these are two examples of how we have tried to bring some improvement in national education policy. Next slide, please, and then I'll close. The next slide basically talks about some research studies that we do based on our presence in the field. And these research studies are either, for advocating a certain change, or, maybe challenging a certain common, point of view, which is there in the education, like dialogue. But if the reality is different, we try to counter it. So there are a few examples here, and I have given the link also. You can access all these studies that we do, like teacher absenteeism study is one. Then how teacher professional development is happening at local cluster level is another one. And then the myths of online education is another title that we have produced. So basically what we are trying to do, at one end, we are trying to, help, have an enabling policy environment. At the other end, we are working alongside teachers in their classroom, and then whatever challenges they are facing, we are trying to talk to all the functionaries also, so that some training programs are happening for the bureaucracy in education. So overall, this whole attempt is to bring about some significant change in the quality of public schooling. So I'll stop here. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jitendra. So, Veena, I will just start sharing your slides and give the floor to you.
Sure, thanks, Lena. So good evening, everyone. My name is Veena, and thank you, Lena, for inviting me to be part of this session. And thanks, Jitendra, for sharing APF's journey and all the amazing work that you're doing. I founded Nature Classrooms in late 2018, just before the pandemic. So we have some interesting kind of reflections pre and post pandemic. And I will tell you a little bit about why we're doing what we're doing. And in the context of, the teachers over here, I thought it would be interesting to showcase some of the kind of workshops that we do with teachers on what we call nature learning. Selena, next slide, please.
Yep.
So as I said, we're an initiative called Nature Classrooms. And the idea was that how do we actually kind of bring in, wonder and fascination and curiosity into the environmental sciences, environmental studies, textbooks and curriculum in India. So EVS is a compulsory subject in primary schools in India. So that's ages 5 to 10 or 11 years old. It's a combination of the natural and social sciences. So as an ecologist, many of us, as ecologists and conservation biologists, many of us would look through the textbooks and we'd say, it's amazing that India has EVS as a compulsory subject, but it is really devoid of, all these other things which you see on the slide, wonder, fascination, these aha moments. And India is a country which is rich with biodiversity. Even in our cities, you would find hundreds of species of birds, thousands of species of insects and spiders, and just hundreds of species of trees. And there's just so much of an opportunity to just look around us and learn from this. The other thing we wanted to do was to actually, break this kind of, the fear that what teachers were kind of articulating to us when they were saying that, but we're not, science teachers. We don't know how to teach these subjects. You want us to do it, we would like to do it, but we don't know how to do it. And where we come in is we try and break this down by telling them that you don't have to be a science teacher to be able to, teach about nature. And that's what we do through our workshops, and that's how we do through our demonstration kind of lessons. And so pre-pandemic, we used to go into the schools, do teacher observations, and then see what kind of, what content they were teaching in a particular class. And then we would tell them how they can add a nature learning element to it. Right? And so for us, the main point was to tell teachers, A, anyone can be a nature teacher. B, that actually nature is all around us. And we can talk about nature and introduce nature to kids just in our own, little school boundaries, even if we're living in a very, very kind of congested city space. We can just take a short walk outside, look at the, the so-called weeds that grow next to our pavements. We can look at the walls. We can look at a single tree and it will still have a lot of kind of, life on it. Can we go to the next slide, please, Selena? So our vision is to bring nature learning into everyday education. And the hope is that this will spark and rekindle what we call curiosity, wonder, empathy, and love for our natural world. And we do this through, workshops and trainings in and about nature learning. And we try and do this in line with the EVS curriculum, because we're very, very conscious that, our teachers in India are overburdened. We didn't want them to, again, think of this as an additional thing that they have to do. So how do we kind of work with the curriculum, and how can we seamlessly insert nature learning as part of the usual curriculum in schools? And how do we make it more age appropriate? And how do we add a cultural relevance to it as well? And we do this by co-creating nature learning resources, activities, and a curriculum in school spaces. We work with government schools and private schools across India, but most often for the last few years, we've been working with educational institutions, who work on different aspects of education in India. Like Jitendra, we also have, we also do research projects that help us inform, the work that we do. We're a small team of 4 women. So we feel a bit stretched very often, but we're all very passionate about this space and the work that we do. Next one, Lena. So, why nature education specifically? We really, like I said, we really believe that, there's immense value in bringing nature education on par with early literacy, on par with, numeracy education that is, mainstream in education. We feel that nature education should also be mainstreamed within our education systems. And the new NEP that Jitendra spoke about in the previous presentation actually tries to bring in a lot of that into the school syllabus now. And where we come in is how do we bring in that love and connection for nature itself. And research and our own observations with teachers and the kids that we work with have shown that it's really foundational for physical, emotional, and mental well-being. And in today's times that we live in, that becomes really, really important, especially for mental well-being part of it. Nature also very beautifully and very simply allows for time being spent outdoors automatically. It also enables for very creative play, and that also allows for children and young students to have a better grasp of concepts across subjects. And research has shown that this really happens. And the crux of our work, like I said, is to first help both teachers and children develop the sense of wonder for nature and this connection and this this deep love for nature. And we feel that unless if we don't develop that foundational love and connection and wonder, why would you want to protect something that you don't have a connection to? So when we start our work, we don't talk about destruction, we don't talk about climate change, we don't talk about deforestation. We talk about how amazing and wondrous the natural world is. And it's so fascinating, the kind of evolutionary kind of mechanisms that are taking place around us, and we are not aware of them very often. And so if we start with that, the hope is then that teachers and the students that they teach will then become stewards for the natural world, and they would then actually take action for conservation. Next slide, please. So how and why do we work with teachers, right? So like I said, we the first thing we try and do is take them on what we call nature immersion workshops. We try and take them to a nice green place with some trees and open areas. It's also a time for them to take a break from their busy kind of classroom schedules, right? And sometimes we do it in schools, but we find that it's much more distracting for them when we do it in their own school spaces. Whereas when we take them out of the school spaces and give them that half-day break, it's quite amazing to see the transformation in them. We connect them to nature, to local nature, ecology, and natural history stories by doing a series of activities with them. We've designed a lot of what we call nature bingo sheets to get them to kind of explore their surroundings. And really, like I said, to try and break the barriers to science education for many of these teachers. We want them to be excited and inspired by this, with the hope that they'll take this back to their classrooms. We don't prescribe anything to them. We only kind of introduce to them what the possibilities are. We co-create activities and curriculum in line with the school curriculum, like I mentioned earlier. And this has allowed for long-term collaborations with them. And we've seen a lot of very, very interesting changes with the teacher groups that we have been working with. Next slide, Lena. And so we've also designed what we call our the Nature Classroom's nature learning framework and pedagogical kind of approach. These are open source. I will share the link with you on the chat box. And we use these kind of tools to to tell teachers how they can design their own nature learning lesson plans within the subject that they're teaching. And we have we take them through it through a project mode. We give them some kind of scenarios. We talk about also ethical and moral dilemmas that come up when they have to teach about nature education. In a large, very, very crowded country like India, people are constantly having to jostle with the wildlife around them. So how do you kind of balance those two kind of issues that will creep up? So I will share this with you as well in the chat box. Next one, Lena. Just to give you a quick example, the main kind of thing that we try and shift in the perspective of the teacher using the using the textbook is how do you shift from a very purely human-centric view of nature to one which is more nature-centric. And one example I wanted to show you how we do this here. So this is a class 2 textbook from Karnataka. Lena, if you can just put the pointer to the left one. Yeah, the one next to that, yes. So that's a chapter from the class 2 textbooks in Karnataka, where they talk about what are the uses of trees. Now you will see that, typically it shows how trees give us shelter, trees give us food, trees give us fruits, etc. And we take wood from trees, etc. And you can see very obviously here that there's no nature element in it, right? So trees not only are useful for us in terms of all what's shown in that diagram, but also Lena, can you move your cursor to the next one? It's also home to a lot of birds, insects, and other animals, and they use trees in different ways as well, as their food, as their shelter. So it's a simple kind of intervention that we wanted to show in this case, the kind of uses of trees by other animals as well. And that's what we mean by moving from a human-centric perspective to one with a more of a nature-centric lens. Another example is in the class 2 textbook again, there's a chapter on, how do you keep yourselves clean? And so we kind of, the nature learning element that we added was how do animals groom themselves? How do birds groom themselves? And how do insects groom themselves? So just very simple interventions that teachers can use in their classroom. Yeah, I'm almost done, Lena. The next slide. Yeah, this is just an example of empathy to our teaching learning practices. So we ask children to think of themselves as, how would you write about your life as a spider if you're a spider for one day? And we got very, very interesting kind of responses to that. And this is an example of some of the activity sheets that we've designed. Next one, Lena. Yeah, and this is some of the resources, nature learning resources that we have created. Just the last one, Lena, the last slide, is about how we use these resources. So this is a very common plant, which is found all around us. One of the schools that we work with in the outskirts of Bangalore. It's called the giant milkweed. It also has a cultural significance because people use the flowers during one of the festivals, Hindu festivals here. So that we using this kind of anchor chart, about this plant, we wanted to bring in all the ecological elements. What are the kind of butterflies and birds that use this plant as well? How are they being pollinated? And so, once children looked at this particular resource, and you can see the teacher showing them the anchor chart, they looked at the plant, they had their own observations, and they came up with their own kind of learning as well on this. Yeah, I'll stop for now, and I'll be happy to kind of respond to more questions later. Thanks, Lena.
Thank you, Vina. I mean, it's beautiful material that you develop. I wish I would be a child going back to school. But I'm glad that I might have two customers at home. Great. So now from the school education, we once pivot to the VET sector. And I would like to invite Jaggi to share a little bit about his experience Jaggi has actually been a long-standing partner of us who initially hosted university students, but this year or last year, for the first time, he hosted a mechatronics apprentice from the canton of Zurich. And we would like to hear, how was your experience, or where do you see the benefit for both sides in engaging in this exchange?
Thanks, Lena. Good evening to all of you. For some of you, it may be just good afternoon. As Lena mentioned, we have been engaged with the Swissnex program for students more from institutions like ETH and EPFL and SUPSI. So this was our first experience with the vocational educational part of from Switzerland. My concern even earlier was whether students from Switzerland could adjust to the different aspects of Indian life, especially diet, food, hygiene, being able to deal with they will never have seen so many people in one place at a time, just with the crowds. And we had very good experiences with the, I would say, more mature students, because most of the people who do come from academia are more master's level students. So they have, they're more adjusted to that. So this is the first we are getting somebody, I would think, at a younger age, right? And surprisingly, just like everybody else, I found that they very quickly adjusted to almost all the factors, at least to the extent that they did get along with the rest of the team and expressed whatever they wanted to express and work with them. I have always felt that the cultural part of it was equally important to the technical part of it, because that contributes so much to the growth process, even in learning anything, even engineering. So I wanted to give an idea. So I quickly put together 2-3 slides just to show you what the first intern that we had, Laurent, did when he was here for 3 months. Let me see if I'm able to share my screen. Let me go and share the screens. Share screen. Can you see my screen now? Or is it still not visible?
Yeah.
Not visible.
Okay. It is visible?
Not visible.
Okay. Let me go back to it. I've said share and then hit share. I think it should be visible now.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yes, coming.
Yes. Oh,
There it is.
okay. So we are a small company that builds robotic arms. These are called collaborative robotic arms, which means that if you engage with them and you happen to collide with them, they will do minimal damage. They won't hurt you too much. And what we were trying to build is we were trying to build a sensor that will be at the tip of the robotic arm, so that when the robotic arm is doing some work, it gets a sense of touch. So if it's going to put pressure on somebody, it will be able to modulate how much pressure it puts. So this was really what we said we got him started off on. And the work that he did was, remember, this is when you say mechatronics, that means there's some idea of mechanical and some idea of electronics. And let me go to the next. So he put together all the schematics for electronics. This is very standard stuff, but he got to use the tools, and I think he was familiar with them, but had not really done something that would then actually be built, because that's the level at which, in a lot of coursework, you get to do the design, but you don't get to realize it finally. So he did all of this. Whenever he needed some help, he had people to advise him on how to do it. We try not to give too much help, in the sense that we don't want to handhold too much and let them make some mistakes. They won't learn anything, so we made that. But before we send for fabrication, we make sure that anything, we don't want to build it too many times. And then what he did was he did the entire design in a CAD model, where he put all the parts, figured out how to lay out all these parts, and we sent it for fabrication. And when it came back, he set it up for testing. And so this is an actual part that he finished testing. So he went through the entire chain of understanding what a design would be, and then testing whether it worked as per design. Not did it work, but did it work as per design, because that is the educational process. So in the span of 3 months, I think he found it very useful that he went from end to end on something. And as I said, more important than this was the cultural part, where I think most of the interns we get, they don't even know what vegetarian food is. So they have lunch with us every day in the cafeteria, and they discover so many vegetables that they've never seen in their life. And most of them adapted to the food very well. I was stunned how much he adapted to spice levels that I cannot eat. And some of his peers took him to a very spicy restaurant, and he came back and he said it was good. I loved it. Right. So I think he had a great experience. But the final takeaway that I think I'm very happy with is that he is going to translate this experience to going to academia in Switzerland. I mean, he's going to finish the vocational part, and he is planning to apply to ETH. and go into academia. And I think that's the right step. The difference I find between people who do vocational education in India is that vocational training in Europe in general is almost entry-level academic level of work, right? So they're more advanced. I don't think I could have given this to a graduate of a vocational institute in India. And I'm hoping that we can in India also, scale up our educational system to be able to take them to the next level rather than the levels that we have here. So we have actually interviewed the next candidate. We finished that process. We're looking forward to having the next person coming in. I think his name is Kevin in September, and this time it's for 6 months. So we'll work out some project, which is a 6-month long project that he gets to do end to end. And I think it's been a very good experience for the people who work with me, who are now exposed to the way things, exposed to, I would say, more European culture, and a bit because most of them also are, I would say, from other countries, right? Some of them are we had kids from Greece, from all over Europe, basically. So I think it's a great experience for us. I have been exposed to all of that for a long time. So I look at it as a very positive thing for all the other young people in the company.
Thank you, Jaggi. And last but not least, we have Damit here. So Damit is actually is the other half of the program that Jaggi just mentioned. He came to Bangalore to spend, Damit, remind me, 3 months or 6 months with...
Yeah, I have been in 3 months, yeah.
Yeah, 3 months cooking up all the food that Jaggi was talking about at the Blue in India. So if you could share a little bit like how this experience was for you, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, of course. And first, I want to say really thank you very much that I get the opportunity today to participate in this meeting. And I'm really sorry that I joined 5 minutes later. I'm sorry because I came after work today. And we are happy to see you all. And yeah, when I think back about my Indian experience, that was really, really nice. And really, I got such a nice experience as a person who born in Sri Lanka and go to India first time, and especially to the Bangalore. And to me as a chef, and it was really nice experience to study about that spices. Even it is typically, I mean, not, it is totally different compared to Sri Lanka. And it was really nice. I mean, not only study about kitchen things and also meet that people and to get connected with the culture and a lot of things. And also as especially that nice reminders what I have, especially also with that traditional ingredients what I study and without using any chemical things and patience, and not only kitchen things. I learned also really about social life, and I got really big opportunity to get a lot of positive things to my life. And yeah, since I come back to Switzerland since last January as well, then I'm always thinking about what I learned and also to do something here. And currently, since 1st of January till 6th of March, I've been working in Dolder Grand Hotel and then as a demi chef de partie. And now I changed my job since 1 month. Then now I'm working in a little bit different way as a chef and also in hotel industry as a site manager, and it is a small Swiss company. And now as well, now yesterday as well, I've been a lot of talking about my next step programs and also to bring something here what I study and what I learned from India. And I that was really big opportunity to me to get that chances from the next step through my I mean my school, where I study my job. And it was really unforgettable to me. It was really nice experience, and I would as well recommend to everybody and hope come again to Bangalore once to visit them as a tourist. And especially as well, when I want to tell something about Radisson Blue Earth, it was a really nice organization. Of course, it was totally different compared to our life. I mean, like in Switzerland, what we learn and what we doing and everything. But that was as well my target to see that technically things and everything how they are doing in other countries, and it was a really nice experience. And hope to join once again to Indian kitchen and try that tasty food and everything. And thanks a lot as well for Swiss Nest that you organize that opportunity to the students like we are here.
Thank you, Damit. I guess you should invite us all for dinner in Switzerland.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got opportunity as well in June in to the Bildungsdirektion, and I don't in Canton Zurich. I will gonna do some catering to them. Then I exactly doing something for what I learned from Bangalore. Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice. Good, thank you. So with that, we can open the floor to questions from our guests. Like, is there anything, any additional question you have, any idea, anything that you'd like to share in response to what you heard? Monica, would you like to start? I see you
Yes.
unmuted here.
No, I have no question, but just I wanted to thank you for those very interesting and inspiring presentations, and especially the last one for us as Movetia is also supporting the Next Steps project. It was very nice and interesting to hear this experience and from such a direct way. It's always very nice to see that which impact we have or what we can support with our agency for projects like this. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems there are no questions right away. Vena, I was curious, but I will connect later with you. Like Swissnex has the Swissnex for the Planet strategy, where like it got I sparked when you spoke about the moving away from the human-centric, because we at Swissnex are also trying to see what can we do for a more planet-centric approach. And Chandra, it's the first time actually that I heard from someone from the Azim Premji Foundation. I've been in touch with the Azim Premji University, and it's truly fascinating to see just the scale at which you're operating. And yeah, I hope that we will get the chance, or that that there will opportunities be coming out of this.
Lena, I was curious, do you know if the Swiss school curriculum has nature studies or environmental sciences as part of the school subjects? Excuse me.
Yeah. Then Monica, would you be able to answer that question? I'm not sure whether Evelyn is able to hear us or connect with us.
I'm not sure actually if they have really like nature studies, but they have, as I know, at primary school they have something like NMG. It's like nature, human, and history. So that's something I know from my own private experience, that they teach this, and they're also nature is it's part of it. Yes. Yeah. And actually I think in Switzerland it depends really a lot on the teacher. From my experience, I know from primary schools, from my son, they go out at the forest every week, so they're really, but I think it depends on the teacher and depends on the school. But in my experience, more and more, it's an important subject as well. Yes.
For us, the kind of what we were trying to actually, crack was that, even the anchor charts that are in schools, especially in government schools in India, or maybe even private schools, a lot of them would show, would showcase animals that are found in different parts of the world, but there would be almost none of the local animals that you would find featured. So, kids know more about the zebra and polar bears, which is great. They should know about it. But very often they just don't know what's also around them. And so that's where we're trying to kind of, create locally relevant resources, because I think the starting point should be there. What's in your backyard and how can you connect with it better? And really, that's really a spark for them to then get curious about nature, which is also a little bit far away in other countries, because it really needs to follow that kind of logical, thinking and reasoning.
Yes, and I found it very nice in your presentation, as you said, like first you need to create a connection, before you can talk about supporting or nature.
Yeah, very, very conscious that we don't want to tell young children about climate change. It's nothing to do with them. It's not their fault. It's adults who have created it, but we're talking to them about climate change all the time, and they're not ready to hear those conversations. They need to hear it, and we need to do something about it, but it shouldn't be their problem to solve at a young age. At least that's what we think.
Hey.
Yeah, a little bit I wanted to share.
Yes.
See, the NCRT, the topmost body of education, particularly on curriculum and textbooks, they are currently writing textbooks for as per the new education policy. And this subject called EVS is now called The World Around Us. So it has a new name now. And what I wanted to share is that there are new textbooks being written at the NCRT level for the country, and we are also contributing into that. But something that I'm personally engaged in is a handbook for teachers to basically teach this subject. So we have a group of team members who are currently working on this handbook, which is basically helping them use that textbook which is coming from the government, and how to make best use of that textbook for teaching students this subject. So I'll share it separately. I'll share some of these things that we are doing with Veena ji, and I'll probably let you know more about her work. So we'll see how we can connect and maybe exchange some ideas. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thanks, Jitendra. We had the opportunity to actually contribute to the class 3 textbook of The World Around Us. So some of the nature classrooms kind of approach of pedagogy got reflected. So I was very happy.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm looking
currently
forward to it.
class 4 and 5 textbooks are being written.
Right.
Yeah. And we have somebody who is basically, coordinating the whole textbook effort, with a team at NCRT. So I keep getting updates from her. Yeah, but this whole effort of, writing new textbooks, and if you have contributed, then it's great. Yeah. Mhm.
Would love to see the Swiss textbooks as well. I mean, I'm happy to kind of help with how we can kind of put our inputs from our experience into that.
Good. Okay, thank you, Jaggi, Jitendra, Damit, and Veena for taking the time to be here with us. Thank you to our guests, and we hope that it will spark some ideas and some collaborations through the Movetia funding opportunities. And we'll also share on an email again, like the information where you can see some of the things, and we'll be happy to act as a point of contact for anyone. All right.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Thank
rest
you,
of the
Monica.
day.
Thank you too.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye. Thank you.
everyone. Bye bye.